On Monday, August 12th, 2019, and the Carroll City Council meeting is now in session. Will everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please note the attendance, Councilwoman Bass is gone, and I believe Councilman Fleshner will be here shortly. Thank you. The first item on the agenda this evening is a consent agenda, and that is approval of the minutes of the July 22nd meeting, approval of bills and claims. We have 3 licenses and permits, which include a renewal of a Class C liquor license with Sunday sales, American Legion Post number 7, renewal of a special Class C liquor license with beer and wine with Sunday sales at Hunan Chinese Restaurant Incorporated, and a new Class B beer permit, which includes wine coolers with Class B native wine permit and Sunday sales, Full Swing Golf. We have some firefighter resignations and appointments, and a change order to the fire department pumper truck, which is change order number 1. Carroll City Hall exterior east wall replacement design services. Also a Carroll Public Library City Hall audiovisual package, change order number 1. And the downtown streetscape phase 9 contract closure. Are there any questions with regards to the consent agenda? If not, I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
Cox?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you. Finally, the next item is the oral requests and communications from the audience on items not on the agenda. Seeing none, we will move to the next item, which is ordinances and the Carroll County Law Enforcement Center. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. Carroll County is in the process of developing a new law enforcement center, LEC, adjacent to the Carroll County Courthouse. The LEC is proposed to be 24,519 square feet in size. It includes the Sheriff's Department office, administrative space, jail, parking, support space, and is located generally west, in the southwest parking lot from the courthouse, east of the Main Street, west of the west and attached to the current courthouse. To proceed with the project as currently designed, the council needs to consider 3 requests before you this evening. The first is a request to approve modifications to downtown streetscape. Second is a request to approve an ordinance to amend parking on Main Street. And third is a request to approve a resolution approving a record of resolutions related to the city complex beautification agreement between Carroll County and the city of Carroll. I will now go in and review each of these in depth. First, regarding the modification to the downtown streetscape. The project as proposed will impact downtown streetscape in a number of ways, and the attached site plan dated July 30th does illustrate the proposed impacts. 2 that I will highlight that I think are the more substantial of them includes removal of 4 parking spaces along the east side of Main Street and widening of the sidewalk on the east side of Main Street. The first change to the streetscape is the removal of the 4 parking spaces. Those are located really at the intersection, starting at the intersection of Main Street and 5th Street on the east side of Main Street, just north of the northern crosswalk. The proposed LEC building is situated so that the northern garage door is proposed to generally utilize the existing drive entrance into the southwest parking lot of the courthouse. The southern garage door entrance will exit into the southern 2-most parking spaces on the east side of Main Street, which will require them to be removed. Additionally, due to the proximity between the garage doors entrances into the LEC, it's proposed that 2 additional parking spaces be removed on the east side of Main Street for a total of 4. The second main change to the downtown streetscape is widening of the pedestrian sidewalk from the right-of-way line to approximately 24 feet into the right-of-way. And this is really being proposed to accommodate circulation in and out of the lower level of LEC to minimize impacts between pedestrians and vehicles entering the lower level. At the closest point to the proposed building, it is set back approximately 5.6 feet from the west property line along Main Street. The plan itself calls for the garage doors that access the lower level to be set back approximately 6.6 feet from the west property line. For reference, a typical vehicle is between 15 and 19 feet in length. In order to avoid conflicts with the sidewalk, with pedestrians on the sidewalk, it has been widened further into the right-of-way and away from the property line to allow continued accessible pedestrian circulation through that area, even when a vehicle is parked. Now, there is an alternative in the building plans that would inset the 2 garage doors to allow the garage doors to be set further back, approximately 13 feet from the west property line along Main Street. This alternative would likely, I would note, cost additional funds to do due to the cantilever nature of it. But the benefits of this alternate would be that vehicles entry and exit from the lower level would have less of an impact on pedestrian travel on Main Street. Additionally, in particular, in the future, if Main Street would be modified, that sidewalk could be eliminated. That additional sidewalk could be eliminated to allow a different road configuration in the future. Vehicles exiting the building would have more reaction time to pedestrians on the sidewalk. Pedestrians would have more time to react to vehicles exiting the building. And actually, as I noted, over the years, Main Street has been reconfigured, and additionally, reconfiguration is likely in the future. LEC is a long-term 50 to 100-year investment for the county, and having the sidewalk encroach an additional 13 feet or 24 feet, into the right-of-way would impact future changes to the roadway. Moving a sidewalk 24 feet in the downtown into the right-of-way really is somewhat unheard of. For these reasons, staff is recommending that a condition of approval to the streetscape modifications, that alternative number 5 with the inset cantilever garage door entries facing Main Street be used and be required. I would also note that alternative number 5 with the inset cantilever garage doors facing Main Street is included in the recommended site modifications of the report that was included with our staff report from Bolton and Main. The second item that's before the council for consideration I've somewhat hit on is an ordinance to amend the parking along Main Street. The request would be to remove the 4 parking spaces along Main Street, and the attached ordinance does that, and it removes the angled parking from Main Street, from the intersection of Main and 5th Street to 225 feet north of 5th Street, which would eliminate those 4 parking spaces. The third request before the council is a resolution approving a record of resolutions related to the city complex beautification agreement between Carroll County and the city of Carroll. In April, during a review of city code unrelated to this project, an agreement from July 2nd of 1973 between Carroll County and the city of Carroll was discovered. In the agreement, Carroll County granted and conveyed for a period of 99 years from the date of the agreement, the city of Carroll an easement for the city complex beautification over and across property owned by Carroll County and described as the south 20 feet of Block 15, original town of Carroll. That would be where the courthouse itself is situated. Since the LEC is proposed to be placed on the southern, or within 5 feet of the southern property line, it would be within this easement area. The agreement states that the city complex beautification as used in this agreement means parking facilities, sidewalks, shrubbery, trees, lawns, lighting, and other construction which is necessary other than buildings to effect a landscape balance between the existing courthouse and the city complex building. To take away any questions the LEC can be placed in this area, a record of resolutions has been drafted that allows the LEC to be placed within the easement area, and that easement's included, that record of resolutions included in the packet has already been approved by Carroll County. Let me finish by saying that there's been a series of meetings between the sheriff, the county supervisors who are here this evening, and city staff in the proposed layout. There's been a number of modifications that have made really this project a lot more palatable, and it's really addressed a lot of the safety concerns. While there's still issues to be addressed, we're likely closer to an acceptable plan than not. So the recommendation staff would make to the mayor and city council is to approve the modification to the downtown streetscape as detailed in the civil plan dated July 30th, 2019, subject to the following conditions. 1, alternate number 5 with the insect cantilever garage entries facing Main Street shall be used. 2, any major modifications to the civil plans for the work in the Main Street right-of-way shall be subject to review by the Carroll City Council, and any minor modifications to civil plans to the work in Main Street right-of-way shall be subject to review by the Carroll City engineer, and that the city manager shall make the determination between a major and minor modification. Second, related to the request for the ordinance, staff is recommending approval of that. And third, staff is recommending approval of the resolution, approving a record of resolutions related to the city complex beautification agreement between Carroll County and the city of Carroll. With that, staff is happy to answer any questions that the council or mayor may have. Thank you.
I know Mike had gotten together with some of the supervisors, I think every one of them, I've gotten a couple of meetings to kind of get this, so at least something was a lot more palatable than what we were going to have as far as accessing where they want to access and keeping traffic off of the right of way. It's not ideal, but I think it's definitely better than what was originally proposed, so.
I would like to mention that I think there has been movement, but I think tweaking this a bit with a little bit more movement, we could have a win-win situation for both the county and the city. Our roles as elected officials, whether county or city, is always protect the public welfare, the public safety, and that we all agree should be number one. Not if public safety means spending a little more money, I think that's money well spent, a good investment. And our second goal as city elected officials and city staff has been to protect the downtown area and really work at creating a climate for economic growth, economic development, which includes safety, and also thinking long-term about our long-term economic viability. And so I'm trying to walk in the county shoes, but also I have to walk in my shoes, and as an elected official, to look out for the interests of Carroll. I have received considerable feedback about the loss of additional parking on Main Street. And where the public will lose when the addition is built, 15 spaces, I understand, in the west. I think that was palatable, it passed, but people just are not seeing that this is necessary. And going back to the original documents that the county used for the referendum, for their town hall meetings, and in their publicity, they showed for months, and in the posters in the courthouse, one access point onto Main Street, and that's the north driveway going into their property, etc. By the way, I have no problem with the 20 feet, getting it back so you can build your structure as you have outlined the footprint. I would like to add to the modifications. Mike mentioned the minor and major changes to any streetscape. You mentioned doing the indentations, the cantilever. I've written that down also, but I would like to add points of access that are currently available in that small space. And as your document that you used and presented to the public for the vote shows one point of access to the addition, and that is the very north entrance into that west parking lot. And so I would like to add a third modification, and that is that we keep one access point, that one access point on Main Street. If necessary, then use the south driveway, which enters close to the police station, for an exit or however you want your traffic to flow. That way we can, I think, come to, I think, a sensible and reasonable agreement that will not disrupt the parking on Main Street. That's very important to our retail, very important to people that talk to me who shop in downtown Carroll, and we can't afford to lose that foot traffic. So, so I would like to say, add that third condition that you keep one access point on Main Street, that north driveway. If you want to use the south driveway near the police station, I think it makes sense, since our two law enforcement centers are close. And you have in your plans, when you promoted the referendum, the two doors on the west. And instead of adding an additional driveway from Main Street, point of access for the south door, utilize the south entry that already exists and probably save you some money. And so keep the two doors, if that's what works for your flow. Or maybe you would consider a one door with the point of access on the north, a wider door where you could circulate both in and out. As Sheriff Pingree mentioned, that there's not going to be much traffic, 3 people per shift, 3 shifts, and maybe 3 transports a day. That would be around 12. And so if there is going to be very little transporting, as Ken said in our information for our packet tonight, constructing another entryway would disrupt our parking, it would add to your cost, and I don't see how using the 2 driveways exist would disrupt your goals. So I would like to add that to any motion, to the motion that we make. One point of access, use both the north and south driveways that exist. If you're going to keep the 2 doors, if you would go to a one-door solution, I don't know if that is something you talked about. They use it at the surgery center at the hospital. They have one wide door, people enter and exit, they have the rows laid up so they're one way. There are 52 spaces and room for equipment, etc. So whatever, that's just for there are options regarding 2 doors, 1 door, but let's keep that access, one point of access from Main Street per your referendum documents. And if you want to keep your 2 doors, have some type of exit on the west, however you choose to do the flow. I don't think it would be that disruptive to what's going on in the south part of the parking lot. So.
Carolyn, could you sum that up just a little bit for us for how you want it to be in the motion? I'm not sure if I understand exactly.
Yeah.
I think we need to add a little bit more.
Yeah, go ahead,
Your
Lisa.
second exit is going to go to the south.
It would be the driveway where people pay their bills,
Yeah,
if they
they would
want to
exit to
use
that,
that. If
yeah.
their second door that they show in the referendum packet, the grade level to the west, it's not that far from that driveway that already exists. So why create three, we'll have three driveways and disrupting parking with the current plan. I think they could accomplish their goals with the two driveways as they exist.
So as they exit south, they go through that little parking area that we're
Yeah,
talking
by the
about.
police station, yeah,
I think we talked about that, and I think
Yeah.
when we had discussed that there was some concern about cars exiting that, coming through there. And if there are cars in the parking lot, if someone backs up into one of those exiting police cars or,
Well, they could back up
Sheriff's
into
cars.
anybody. New Hope
Yeah.
uses it. I mean, you can back up into anybody in a grocery store parking lot. But as Ken mentions, you know, he was very transparent with how many transports per day, and he said it's going to be very low. You would have excellent visibility. You would increase the safety per the bullets we have in here. And we wouldn't have to worry about the 24-foot intrusion into the right-of-way. So I think it's a win-win, that we can keep what we have and you can still accomplish your goals with the transporting, et cetera. It's my, I get, okay, to be short, replay.
Well, no,
It's, yeah.
You're getting there, but
Okay.
we've got a lot to learn here.
Yeah, well, okay,
I don't
keep
think
one,
we're ready
ac-
for a motion yet.
no, but briefly, keep one access point onto Main Street using the existing north driveway in order for the city to maintain the 4 parking spaces on Main Street. The
Right.
south.
That needs to be a cantilever.
And cantilever, Mike said they added that.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I
On the
agree
north
with
one.
everything that Mike, I'm adding condition number 3 and mentioning they have double doors. I don't know if they would consider a single door, that's up to them.
Well, I wanted to thank you all for coming
Yeah.
to join us tonight. Your presence here means a lot and is greatly appreciated. I'm also curious, perhaps you could explain to us a little bit about your desire or needs for the 2-entry system that you do have proposed. I imagine you came to some decision on that at great length of thought, and I was curious what your thoughts were there.
Well, the purpose was, it was originally laid out to have parking on both sides, and then in meeting with the city, one of the concessions we made was to have the north door be the entry door and the south door be the exit door. So in doing that, we gave up a number of parking spaces inside already to make room for traffic to turn through the building. As far as entering out of the south into that south parking lot, I don't think that works structurally with the building. I think our engineer can speak to that in a little bit. So basically, we just want flow in and out. This thing doesn't get used a lot. The only people going to be parking down there for the most part are dispatchers that are working and jailers. The only law enforcement that's going to be allowed to park down there are either people picking up prisoners for a transport somewhere, or people bringing prisoners into the jail. Will come in those doors to access the Sally Port and then drive out. It just creates a U-shaped flow having both doors like that. And we, like I said, structurally, I don't think it works for the building to try to dodge around pylons to exit to the south.
Well, coming out of the Sally Port, you got such a short turn, you make that turn right away. And then we can cross.
And this also has to accommodate Carroll County ambulance too.
And there's a grade issue too, on the south.
so it's the type of vehicles that are gonna be coming in and out.
Correct.
They have to be able to accommodate for.
Right.
Okay.
Could you have just one north entrance and make it wider or something? I'm trying to save the 4 parking spaces. We're getting some resistance.
Part of the traffic study, though, recommended getting rid of those, so we had a wider angle of view coming in or out.
That was
So we
with
weren't dodging around
The
vehicles.
Bolton and Mink, that we had a conference call about that. And the south end exit was brought up at once upon a time and was discussed at quite length. And if you go out the southernmost, let's take the 2 that are in the jail. If you would go use it, the southernmost as your exit, when you come out, you have to fight the street problems. Pedestrians, moving cars, and parked cars. You've got to fight those 3 things. If you go out the south side, you have to fight pedestrians, parked cars, turning and entry cars, and then when you get there, you also have Fifth Street across the street, which adds to the equation too. So that was there, Bolton and Mink, we kind of came to the conclusion there was too many obstacles to be presented to a driver at that position.
I think that's already happening now. With,
Agreed,
when I've
but-
noticed like the vans pulling up to go to the library, activities. We have the New Hope vans, we have big SUVs, we have, it's a very busy, as we saw from Bolton and Mink's map. We have a lot going on in that small area.
That's why we
And
decided not to add more to
I
it.
guess, but this is the plan that you sold to the public, and the public that's contacting me, they're saying, this isn't how the referendum was sold. And this is what you showed for months and months. And so people are, we all want to see a new law enforcement center, but they're upset that what they voted for and bought into has now changed, and they really don't want to see this intrusion and disruption of Main Street. They think that you and your architects can come up with some type of solution. So as I said at the beginning, we have a win-win. I mean, this is what you said was what you wanted.
Is the library gonna be identical to what was sold to the public?
Yes.
Verbatim?
Maybe the
That's a
interior.
conceptual plan.
Right.
Conception.
Right, I realize that.
I think you're taking a conceptual plan and blowing it out of proportion. I'm glad that you started your talk with safety. That's the whole reason of this structure in the first place, is the safety of not only the prisoners, but our officers and the public and people who work at the courthouse. So it's quite important to the safety of our community to have this jail go through. And I want to make it quite clear that we're spending a lot of money having parking in the lower level of the building, which was not originally there, which was something that we had a committee vote on in order to preserve as much parking
Right,
as possible.
I agree.
And I also want to add that part of the parking places that are no longer going to be in Main Street are for safety reasons. So you have to have, there's a trade-off here between parking places and safety. And we had an at-length discussion as far as using the south side of the building for an exit, and I think that's been well explained already why we didn't go that way.
Well-
And certainly, it's not a new idea, it's not a new concept, Carolyn.
Yeah.
It's something that we've discussed several times, along with your mayor and city council, your
I
manager.
realize that, Neil. I mean, we're all talking, picking different things out of the Bolton and Mink study, and they made several comments about best practices. And one of the comments is you don't exit into heavily traveled streets. And their study said that Main Street is one of the top 5 busiest streets in Carroll, and it has an accident rate over the state average. So, I think how we're seeing the safety issue, we're coming at it from the county perspective for your project, and I'm coming at it from, reading the facts from Bolton and Mink, and what, people's perception is reality, and they're upset. I mean, maybe to you, the 4 parking spaces don't mean a whole lot. I don't know, maybe other people who are here would like to weigh in.
I talked to a lot of people, I haven't heard any comments about
I
the parking spaces.
I'm Jacob Fiskus. I have a property right across from the 4 parking spots. Today I took time and actually visited with every business in the direct vicinity and their owners, and we all unanimously showed concern for losing those spots. We already lost a parking lot, and I understand that there's going to be county parking there, but that's not open to the public. And now losing 4 more is what just makes it harder for us, for our employees, for for our customers, and we just, you know, it was just unanimous that we're all very concerned and that we'd like to keep the 4 parking spots.
Carroll, one point I would like to make, you did make reference on the study that exiting onto a major road is not suggested. But if we were to push for a single entrance and access point, then you still have to exit there, so I don't think that's a valid point.
Oh, I'm not pushing for either one, you know, keep the 2 doors, do one, I mean, I just threw out. No, that's
But
not.
if we come down on the 2 doors, I agree, and having been a driver in town and such, coming down through that parking lot with basically a single wide access with an ambulance or anything else, vehicles trying to park, trying to negotiate, and then like you said, pull out directing Fifth Street. I don't think that's a good solution either. I think it's gonna have to come down to we lose the 4 spots or we push for the single door route. I think those are the 2 courses of action.
Ken,
we gotta pursue.
you had mentioned you're not gonna, report that we read, you're not gonna have much activity going in and out.
Correct.
Can we get by with 1 driveway? Is the north one, the one we're seeing here in our plans, if you're not having a lot of activity?
I don't know how.
It's just gonna be a lot easier for everybody involved, having a U shape for the flow.
But if you're not having a lot of activity, they got time. But am I wrong?
It's
I don't-
because of the Sally Port more than anything.
But yeah, the Sally Port's located inside the structure, so officers bringing prisoners in or whatever, you know, they're gonna pull into the door from the north side, into the garage, and then the Sally Port's located in there next to the elevator. It'll be a 2-car garage with its own separate entrance, so once they're inside there, the Sally Port door will go up if they have a prisoner, they'll pull in there, that door goes shut, and then they can enter the elevator, take their prisoner up 1 floor into booking. We don't want officers backing out.
It's hard to see the
We
Sally
don't see
Port
it on
because
prints.
the Sally Port's gonna be a separate enclosed facility with,
Inside the parking.
it's right inside the building. So you got basically a garage area inside of a garage. And that Sally Port is then closed down so that the prisoner can be
Right.
taken out of the vehicle in a secure area without, you know, immediate access to the outside.
Correct.
In
Yeah.
phases, yes.
So
Yeah.
essentially, this will be, if this is Main Street, vehicles will enter in here.
Yep.
They have a choice of either going to the Sally Port, or actually there's a clear way that allows non-PD or people that are not bringing prisoners to actually circulate through and back out. Or they will come in, the Sally Port, there's a garage door on either side, the garage door opens, car goes in, garage door shuts. The prisoner goes up into the elevator, takes them up to jail. So when they talk about the circulation, that is a circulation. I mean, I guess I'll let you speak your concerns, but this is the basics of the layout of what's
footprint
happening
of that
internally.
is small enough that you're not gonna be able to back an ambulance up out of that Sally Port without hitting cars that may be parked in there. And then you don't want that ambulance backing out onto Main Street. You
I
don't
mean,
want that-
everybody would agree it's easier to go forward than it is
Something-
backwards.
Well, and to the point, you know, it's been brought up that the sheriff has said there's not a great use. Well, could that expand in the future, and what could that look like 10, 15, 20 years from now?
I wish I had a crystal ball, I have no idea. You know, our arrests have held pretty steady. I said we didn't build this to, you know, we're not gonna be in the business of housing other counties' prisoners. We may take a few, but I don't see a huge increase in traffic there. And most of the arrests, let's face it, happen after hours when there's very little traffic on Main Street. I mean, most of them are happening, you know, past midnight. Even, you know, probably the greatest influx of patrol cars would be in and out of there.
But you'll have prisoners that'll be housed in there if they're in court. They would be housed up in there also.
Prisoners awaiting court?
Yeah,
Yes.
yep.
It's probably worth noting too that I'm Monica Converse, civil engineer with Shive Hattie, that the Sally Port was originally programmed to be 3 stalls, and we reduced it to 2 stalls to accommodate the through drive, so that we could have the one-way in, one-way out access point versus two-way for both of them. So that was a programming change that we made to try to take that into consideration. And as far as coming out of the south wall, I believe that's a structural shear wall. I didn't do the structural design, but I could verify that. But there was some design reasons why we didn't do that. There was also some grade differential there, and just some different things we took into consideration. And we also had the concern about entering or exiting out of that south door into a parking lot where there could be more, vehicles trying to back up and some points of conflict with traffic there. And also just of note, that south wall would be very visible to the new library, so trying to avoid having a garage door there, just to, from a more of an aesthetic standpoint, but.
We're talking about backing into cars, what about driving into pedestrians? There are people pushing baby buggies, they're walking with dogs, they're driving bikes. There are gonna be 3 driveways, and it's, and Neil, go ahead.
Has there been any pedestrian study there?
I-
Both amending to traffic study, I'm not aware of any pedestrian study, and there are in my opinion, very few pedestrians on that side of the street.
Well, Neil, I sat down 4 30-minute sessions. I'll just give you guys the numbers. Thursday afternoon, for 30 minutes, 10 people passed through that area. 188 cars were on the street. Friday morning, 6 people walked by, 120 cars. Friday noon, 12 people walked by, 188 cars. And Friday evening, nobody walked by, and 130 cars.
On that side of the street, on the west side, or the east side, excuse me?
I sat there 4 30-minute sessions and charted it all out.
Did those people?
There was more action on the other side of the street.
Did those people go into a car situation, Laverne, or did they just walk straight through?
Both.
Well,
I had, the one concern I had was a daycare went by. And right away Friday at 11:45, 2 adults with 8 kids, and then right after that, 2 adults with 10 kids. Walked right by where you're gonna have your cars going in and out. The library's not built yet. There's gonna be more traffic.
I mean, it's not like our guys are
I
gonna be
guess-
shooting out onto the road. I mean, we'll proceed out cautiously no matter what.
Well, wouldn't a cantilever kind of take care, you're okay with that?
We've made so many
Yeah, that's
concessions
what they
now, if we do
conceded
that,
to.
we won't have any spaces to park down there.
So you don't want it?
Design will take away your
I
parking
just said
spaces?
yes.
We'll have to use the parking spaces we've made on the street. It's an no-win situation.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, we incorporated the generator so it was enclosed down there, so it wouldn't be out in the open. Garbage areas and other things, so.
The biggest problem that I see, and I'm probably gonna alienate a lot of people with this statement, we have been a very good neighbor to a lot of people. And now we're taking it away and they're sour. And I'm sorry that that happened. But maybe it was our fault. Maybe we were too good to them too long. I know we all need to get along down there. I understand all that. But we've been providing parking places, scooped parking places, places safe for them to walk, and we don't own any of those businesses. And now we're wanting to take it away, and they're not very happy about it. And my next point is, we had a public hearing. We've had 2 or 3 opportunities. We have neither had a verbal nor a written complaint. And now here tonight, we're finding complaint after complaint after complaint. So where has this all been? We're out to bid. We're ready to take them back Thursday. You got us trapped in another 6-month problem and probably another 10% raise in cost, to which we're going to have to either reevaluate or not build. And not build is not going to be a very good answer, because I'm afraid that we may not get support from the current board to build again. We've jumped through the hoops once, we may not be able to do it again.
10 a.m. on July 29th, which is publicly put on our agenda. We have a public hearing, I'm reading this, are proposed plans, specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost of jail project. That was on our agenda. We had an open hearing on July 29th, 10 o'clock. There was not one single comment, not one. We've sure been trumped here.
I mean, I guess I was assuming that we were going with what was in the referendum. That was my biggest concern was parking, and I thought, you know what, we're still having the street spots. It'll work. So, you know, I didn't know this until last week because I assumed by the referendum. So, you want to talk about feeling sour? Well, now you're taking even more parking from us. So, you know, we feel sour as well.
And I'll be clear, I did not have the level of comments that Carolyn has had. I did receive an email from you, Jacob, and I do appreciate that very much, but that was the email that I received on, or contact I received on parking on the area, those 4 stalls that we've talked about here tonight, so thank you for communicating that. That was the one I had.
You know, my comment is, we've been bending over on this whole project. We've met with the staff, the mayor, and some of you, and we have been making concessions all the way through this thing. I think we're to the point where concessioned out. And I mean, we have to go with the product. This is, from what I can see, is the best option that we have. You know, to go out to the south, there's issues with the structure design, there's issues with grade, there's issues with going out on the city's property. I mean, this is the best option.
What
To
do
take
you
away
mean by
the-
what
to take away the-
concessions did you make? Just recently you made some, or what do you mean?
Well, we did added sidewalk and different things that we want to do.
Mhm.
We put it in the bid to cantilever. If it's, you know, if it's a reasonable bid, we might look at it. We haven't made that commitment, but it's an alternate in the bid. We put that in there. You know, so it's been, we put the parking underneath the courthouse, which wasn't originally our thoughts to do that. So I mean, we've been just,
I saw
it's kind of old when you try to be a good neighbor and.
I saw the cantilevering option, and I apologize, I did not catch any understanding of what it would cost you for parking and space, so I would like to know a little more about that. Because to me, the cantilevering looked like a good option with the dual entry and then exit loop to give more access and room for vehicles to be in there and off street, essentially to keep things safer for not only pedestrians but also vehicles traveling.
Gene, did the architect give you any estimate on what it would cost to cantilever the 2 doorways?
I don't think he did. Did he
Do you have any
idea?
idea what that would cost?
I don't personally, but I know we are getting a bid alternate secured on Thursday, so we'll know more
But
after
there's
that.
no
But-
engineer's estimate then on the cantilever?
I believe at one meeting I was involved in, Shive Hattery, I think it was Mike, said it was about 30,000
we
what
can-
they estimated.
Yeah, we can get that to you.
Per
I-
door, I
I
think.
don't have that right
And
now.
I thought it was both doors, but
Tell me what the
There will
price
be
of steel is
additional-
gonna be, and that's what we can tell you.
Well,
Well,
you got an
it's
idea
just
of what
an
we have.
estimate.
I mean, it's-
Yeah, we're gonna be in the ballpark.
Yep,
Pardon,
and-
pardon me, miss, with the engineer company, could you help us understand what they lose with the cantilever,
This
please?
is garbage coming out. This is engineering. So what I understood was there'd be no parking
They-
cost.
yes.
Correct.
But there would be additional costs for the additional
I
wall
apologize.
sections and soffits.
What did you just say, Mr. Kobe Weaver?
So this is a cutout for basically trash enclosure. There's a wall along Main Street, but this is where the trash enclosure would go. And then this is the engineer, or this is the generator area. This is a mechanical storage room. So if you cantilever this in, there's no parking loss, but there is a cost. I mean,
Sure.
Okay, so no
Clearly,
parking,
no
and you're
parking.
bumping it in 13 feet, correct? And that's to prevent
it's
20
well,
feet.
I mean,
it's
part of the
about
argument-
6 feet.
Oh, 6 feet.
That gets you a
Plus-
total of 13.
Plus, we're
And-
6 off, so that makes a total
And,
of 12.
and by doing that, the gain is we don't have 24 feet into the right of way,
Right.
making it unsafe according to all the bullets in here about how that makes it exceptionally unsafe for the public. To me, if it's 30,000, 50,000, 100,000, that is worth the investment. I mean, what is a life worth, or, you know?
But I don't think they're arguing that, Carolyn. They're talking about the cantilevering option, and if it's feasible within your budget, if I understand right, that's an option,
It's an alternate.
It's just the way, yeah, a way
But
of pricing it. to
it's
protect
mentioned
the-
in here twice, but it will cost more money, so you put it in as an alternate.
Yes, but every alternate you add in, there's a keep jacking up the price,
Right.
guess what?
Yeah, we do that too.
Yeah, right,
And
we
we're
get
not-
it,
we don't
we
plan
get
on
it.
doing it.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things that, I think from a staff perspective, and just other communities I've worked in, right-of-ways in Carroll are narrow. You look at Randy and say yes or no, but they're narrower than other communities I've worked in. Yes, we have a pedestrian kind of encroachment north and south at the crosswalks. But I think if you don't do the cantilever, it is an encroachment that you're gonna have to keep forever within the right of way, really to provide a safe corridor for pedestrians. We don't know what the future of Main Street is, we don't have a crystal ball. And I think staff would really say, you wanna protect our right of way. And I've mentioned, this isn't a surprise to the county supervisors. We wanna protect our right of way, our property. So I think we're pretty strong that the cantilever option, for all the other reasons, it's also preservation of our right of way in the long term.
Well, and for all those reasons and more, cantilevering is something that I'm in favor of, but unlike some of my cohorts here, I would support it with both your entry and exit doors to maintain that flow and make things work. I see no issue there, and if that's the way the building's been engineered, and things are deemed safe for you, Sheriff, correct? To flow in and out of there? I have no issue. I do want to see the cantilevering so that we can keep clearance up to the street and maintain some options in the future. That's just my take.
It gives you a little bit more visibility, access to people that may be walking out there, and it slows you down a little bit. It's like when you're downtown in Des Moines and you come out of some of those parking garages, and you're exiting right out onto a parking ramp, or right onto a sidewalk on some of those parking garages downtown. And there's times I'll just blare my horn as I'm coming up, because I don't wanna hit anybody.
Well, to the point the sheriff made, his people aren't gonna be streaking out of there in those vehicles.
Right.
We've also looked at, the option of putting a flashing light in this other building when the doors are going up.
Warning others.
So, and that's an inexpensive option.
You expressed your concern about your officers and everybody on your staff. We expressed the concern for the people that are downtown using the facilities down there. And I know-
Nobody's more concerned about them than I am.
Exactly, right.
So,
That's
We
where-
think Chief Burke will take issue with you on that, but that's just me trying to get us to laugh there. Jacob, to your point too, the parking down there is certainly important, and the county has been a good neighbor, and I imagine will continue to be a good neighbor as things go forward. I was curious about one thing, perhaps y'all could shed a little light on. Parking in the north lot is public parking on the west side and.
It's actually public parking everywhere.
Public everywhere.
It is, okay. I thought I'd seen some
Yeah.
signage.
Well, we
to
do a
that.
driver's license testing, for motorcycle and some things over on the east side. And we do block it on, I think it's on Thursday afternoon. Fridays. That, I don't know what day it is.
It's always empty anyway at that time.
Typically,
Right.
yeah.
One of the other things too is some of the parking that they have, that the county has on the east side. Some of those cars will be in the parking garage, so that'll free up some spaces on the east side
On
of.
the east side, that will
Of the,
relieve some.
that already are not being used because the county has them. So
So it opens
we may get 4 out of that.
So.
On the other side of the road,
I've
but-
seen you use those parking spots. I've watched you carry portraits across there and equipment, so I know
And
you
the
use them.
Parking underneath is just for county employees,
Yes.
will be.
Enclosed secure parking.
Those, the city, well, when they're in there for for issues, they'll be able to park in there. And
Yeah, our
and the
police
highway-
department and-
Highway
but it's
patrol.
all
will be
for
there. All law
County
enforcement people.
employees and city
Yeah.
law enforcement.
Yeah, we kicked around putting our county cars underneath there originally, but as we shrunk our footprint to make some more of these things work, which is like the third time we've shrunk the footprint, those had to be displaced someplace.
So
and
you're out of room.
We're pushing them to the north side and getting them way out there, so. Those
I'm
are
gonna-
cars that are,
I'm gonna backtrack that, I did a lot of my research off these drawings, and it's not that. After seeing that, I can see what you're doing. This, from what I have, I'm looking at here, that's why I was pushing for the one. I get it. As long as you go with the cantilever, or both of them, I'm okay with that. I struggle with losing the 4 parking stalls. I don't know how we can.
That's why I mean, on the east side,
I don't
some
know
of
how we
those
gain
cars.
that, but I guess unfortunately, I don't think you can get everything here. Something's gotta give, and I'm going to say safety for our public with the cantilevers will override losing the 4 parking spaces.
To that point, we sacrifice the 4 parking spaces, they're sacrificing the extra cost of cantilever, and we're both,
Yeah.
you know, we're both got skin in the game a little bit, and
You know, my only loss is to me, is the 4 parking places. I guess, you know, unfortunately, you're gonna have to put safety of the public over that.
But
This originally was gonna be 8, I wasn't 6 or 8 spots we were gonna lose.
Right.
And we'll throw that out there. We got it down to at least 4, and that's for better visibility.
Yeah, and we are losing the 15 to the building, and then the 4, so that's 19, we're getting some in the east, but again, that's the main street, people, I don't know.
I know.
It's concerning to the people that contact me.
I think Mike and I had even talked about getting some of the parking on the south side of the library. I think PD's gonna have some issue with that, because they'll have their cars in there. If there's a building that becomes available that we need to take out, I think we can put parking there. If something comes available. Right. Yep. That'll all be vacant.
So, but it's not a given they will accept the bid alternative for the cantilever, correct? You're gonna wait and see how the bids come
they
in.
look at the numbers.
So it's not a given that they will. I understand that we have to make those decisions. But
I would hope after this conversation that they will take that under a little more advisement,
Put a little more weight.
into that, because of the concern. That's what I would appreciate.
especially because of the big impact on the right of way.
We
Correct.
made a number of concessions in the design of the building in addition to shrinking the footprint that will hopefully save us money, hopefully get a bid that will have the latitude to do some of those things.
Yeah,
We haven't gotten the bids yet, we don't know
Right.
if they're gonna be here.
yeah, you don't wanna be Warren County.
That's right.
What was that city
yeah.
that just, they're on their third, was that the Warren
The
County one?
bids keep
Macocota,
getting
actually.
700.
Macocota had their third referendum and it still hasn't passed. That's the one I think I saw this morning.
Jackson.
But
you know, for sure, this is not a referendum on the jail. That's been had, and the people have spoken their minds, and they've voted to have this and do this, and I really do appreciate the time, effort, and energy that you've all put into it. I'm totally fine with this if we can get cantilevering for the doors and have the extra space. And
You can make that part of the motion if you wanted to.
I'm working on it, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you.
I'm working on it.
So we don't see foresee any major modifications now, but beyond this. But should there be, I guess we'd expect you to come back again like you have now about this. And it'd be quite a big surprise for anything else, right?
So what I'm hearing is the cantilevering is the big issue, is the entry.
The safety.
If that can be in
I
there,
think
then
that seems to make us comfortable. It does me.
it does.
And it seems like a small amount of money to pay for overall safety.
And I would never put a dollar amount, Carolyn, on somebody's life, ever. But I guess I appreciate your guys' feedback, and we're actually able to work together right here. This is how it's supposed to be. I guess I'm just a little disappointed that this didn't happen months ago when we were in this process and trying to save some architect dollars. Because it's not our dollars, guys. This is the taxpayers' money. And cantilevers, I think it's a great idea, but I personally feel as a mother with a stroller, I would feel, and I appreciate your guys' opinions, but this is mine. I feel safer without one. If there is a light or a strobe and I'm walking on that side and I hear a garage door instantly, I'm gonna be like, oh, wait. Instead of a car, like Mayor, you had mentioned, in Des Moines, they go racing out of those right onto fast roads. I mean, I would, because I'm not gonna stop and go like this, is if there was a garage door opening up and a horn beeping or something, a light, I would actually feel safer. That's in my opinion, and I agree with you guys. I do think if it comes in within reason, which that's what we all, like Rich said, comes down to the price point.
So if the car is exiting by the cantilever door, I don't see why it'd make any difference on entry, but exiting, they're gonna open the door and then drive up and stop where they would normally stop if there's a normal door. I don't think the cantilevering is gaining all as much as you guys are putting stock on it. And
The cantilever, I think, was more, I mean, the way I look at it is more on the entrance one, because
Right.
that's where you're getting the car off the right of way. But coming out, the car's gonna have to come up to the garage door anyway, stop, wait till the door opens, proceed out, and still gonna have to look for traffic. And then take off from there. I don't know what the advantage of the cantilever is on the exit door, but.
on the entering, they'll, 90% of the people have a garage door opener anyhow.
Yeah, but I thought in some of our discussions, how far out that's gonna work. Is it gonna work 2 miles out, a mile out? You have to be 50 feet?
We hope it
Yeah.
doesn't work 2 miles out.
Hopefully the door's in sight when they open it, make sure nobody else goes in there.
Right.
I guess my concern, Neil, is that the cars entering could be stopped waiting for that garage door to open and encroaching out into the roadway. And Stephanie, I'm sure with you on the mothers with strollers, I really hope that the very few of them who are there are maybe migrating over and walking past Jacob's storefront, to be honest with you. I'm worried about the encroachment into the roadway and the high count of cars that Laverne got going past there. That's my only concern. So if that's not a concern and I misunderstand it, let's talk about it.
I think you're overplaying the advantages of the cantilever system, but that's my opinion.
Maybe I misunderstand. Will vehicles be in the roadway when they're
I
waiting?
don't see them stopping on the sidewalk very often. If they're entering, they're gonna open the door and wait for an opening to enter the building.
But not
Period.
everybody's gonna have a garage door opener now.
Yeah.
I mean, I can see you guys, I can see your county's people having.
Very few people will have one, and there will be some, obviously.
Oh, your transfers won't?
What?
Oh, your transfers won't, I imagine.
No.
No, and the highway patrol coming in, they'll be bouncing off the radio through the comm center, and the comm center will have
They'll be
an access point.
communicating.
It'll take just a little bit for that. If they're, depends on what they're busy doing, if they're not busy doing anything, they can set it off and.
Maybe I could shed some light, like, let's just say Cass County's coming up here right now to pick up a prisoner that we arrested of theirs. One, they're gonna call and tell us that they're coming, so we know that. There'll be cameras on this building. 99% of the time when I pull up at a sheriff's office to pick somebody up, as I pull up, the door is going up. Just because somebody's sitting in the control room, they see me pulling up, the door is going up. Other times there's a little baluster with a buzzer on it. You just push that and announce who you are. The door goes up and then shut. And the number of times that we have outside agencies come here to pick up a prisoner that can't post bond or something is maybe once every 2 weeks. It's not a
So my
not a
question is,
revolving door type thing.
if there's not a lot of traffic in and out of there, you guys are putting a lot of expense into the secure facility for just a few vehicles.
We are.
And I don't wanna discount that.
We have.
But it's,
But our number one thing at the top of our list is, since we started the jail, started off with safety. And
And
we've
we're
never
looking at the
moved
same
from
thing.
that. I'm glad you recognize it. We are dumping a lot of dollars. We're talking cameras, buzzers, lights. We give a lot of thought to this traffic flow.
Well, we appreciate that.
Aesthetically, it's gonna look better downtown, it's gonna match the height of the courthouse for the most part.
Our intent is to have every local agency is gonna have some sort of remote.
All the Carroll PD, the firemen, the ambulances, Manning Police Department, Coon Rapids Police Department. So it'd just be like pulling up to your garage door, your house. I know by the time I get to my garage door, it's open and I pull in. I don't wait.
Can, may I ask
That
you?
still requires us to give up right away though, too.
Correct.
So that's for
Yep,
the
you're right.
second issue.
Absolutely.
I just wanted to ask Ken a quick question. I'm still thinking about, and after Jacob spoke, the single access point on Main Street, which you did use to push for a yes vote for the referendum.
Like Neil said,
And-
that was conceptual.
Well, it's the exterior. I know, I really haven't seen the interior designs. I wouldn't know if, you know, if they're good, bad, whatever. You guys are the experts. But I wondered why, if this ended up being such a flawed plan, that you stayed with it. Why wasn't this, I attended every single, you know, I was on the citizen committee. I attended every meeting, and nobody ever said, hey, wait a minute, it would flow better from the south door if we cut into Main Street. That was never once brought up, but this was used for months until the referendum last November. And I just wondered why the revision we're asked to look at tonight, when did that evolve? When you use this for all your speaking engagements, the public, the referendum, when did you decide, hey, this isn't gonna work for you, for your flow?
One, I don't think it was flawed. Like I said, Neil said it was conceptual. I mean, it's not a scaled exact layout of the plans.
Well, there's
After the
no-
vote passed, then the plans took shape farther.
Well, there's no driveway going out into that little area onto Main Street where the four parking places will be
I don't
removed.
think that was a complete architectural rendering when that was put out.
That was our best guess at the time.
Of how you were going to
Understand
flow
that.
things, Neil?
You know, we hadn't had detailed drawings done. I think it'd be unreasonable to expect it to be exactly the same as the conceptual
I think from an expense
drawing.
perspective, it would be a little too much, because if the
Yeah.
referendum didn't pass, went through all that money to have
Yeah.
We're in deep to the
the correct
architects.
Well,
drawings.
yeah, you show
Right.
in the referendum packet, you show the two doors, but still just the one driveway access
I
point.
don't know
off
if it
of
ever
Main.
showed a driveway, truly, Carolyn.
Yeah, on this, it says existing parking entrance, and so you're showing.
I don't think people paid too much attention to that when I was showing it during my.
They are now. I'm hearing from people that are paying attention to it now.
Okay.
Thanks,
Mike.
thank you.
I have one question, based off staff recommendation, with modification of cantilever on the entrance door only, what would we be giving up if we did that?
Well, I think one of the concerns is, we can talk about operationally how it works today. And we have a good sheriff, we have a good county board of supervisors. But the long-term investment of the building, things are gonna change. Operationally, it's gonna change. What is an in and an out today may be ins and outs in the future, if that makes sense. So I think cantilevering both of them, you can't do it later. It's do it now or do it never. And so I think from our perspective, you know, when we talk operationally, you know, Ken wants to provide law enforcement outside of his agency ability to get in and out today. The next sheriff may not share that same philosophy. And so then it causes issue in the future. So I mean, we're always looking at, this is a long-term investment, do it right, so you don't have to face a concern in the future.
So if we wrote the ordinance that it had to be on the entrance only, and given the fact that something changed down the road, it could architecturally be changed at that point. And that way it's trying to meet in the middle with the county, trying to help save some costs, but also accept what we want.
I mean, you could change the architecture in the future, but I wouldn't wanna put a number. mean,
I agree,
It would be probably an astronomical number to.
but I don't want them to have to incur costs, because those are my tax dollars too.
Mhm.
You know, I don't wanna have them incur the cost on if we're truly concerned about the safety at this point, then I would be inclined to say, let's do it on the entrance.
If they end up having more traffic, cantilever works better.
Well,
That's my opinion.
That's my concern. If you have a little bit more traffic, I can see a center turning lane. Now all of a sudden you're widening out your road, you know, where the cars will come up and they'll wait in the center and then turn into your, I can see that happening pretty easily. Yeah, that's,
Mr. Mayor, just to get your point, so
Yep.
you're saying the cantilever would be better, why, on the exit?
And as time goes, and if there's more increased traffic going through that building, so maybe instead of 3 a month now, what were we saying, 3 a week? You know, for traffic,
Exits.
for prisoners, what are you thinking, maybe,
I'm just saying, once every 2 weeks for an outside agency to come in here and pick somebody up.
if that increases to once every 3 or 4 days, if something happens down the road, Audubon loses its jail, Calhoun County loses, where are they gonna go? We may be able to pick some of that up, thus increasing our traffic through.
But the
me-
argument that I would maintain is, if you're recessed in, you still have to go forward enough.
Yeah, that's why I said
Pass.
cantilever coming in
Right.
is good. I'm not so much, I don't know if I'm so much sold on the cantilever going out,
Yeah.
but going in. As you get that car off the road.
Mhm.
If there
And
needs
that's
to be
where I'd be
that.
inclined, is to say, let's do it on the end, you know, put it in the motion, it's on the entrance and on the exit.
Mayor, I've thought about this a lot, and I'd like to put a motion. I'd like to move that we approve the modification to the downtown streetscape as detailed in civil plans dated July 30th, 2019, subject to 2 conditions. 1, alternate number 5 with the cantilevered garage entries facing Main Street shall be used. 2, any major modification to the civil plans dated July 30th, 2019 for the work in Main Street right-of-way shall be subject to review by the City Council, Carroll City Council, with a minor modification subject to review by the city engineer, and that the city manager shall make the determination between major and minor modifications.
Motion and
Cantilever for both.
Both doors, I'm saying 2 doors, that's their option that they have for
I'll
us.
second.
is there any other discussion?
giving up the 4 parking places,
Giving up the 4 parking places. Sorry, Jacob.
but we're not giving up the streetscape.
Right. Keep our
Future.
room.
I mean, there would be modifications, but obviously it's shown on the civil
But we
plans.
will have, yeah.
If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
Haley,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes,
Cots,
No,
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks.
Yes.
Motion is approved. 5-1.
Okay,
Sorry, 4-1.
4-1.
4-1, never mind.
Thank you.
We're throwing off tonight.
she's our numbers queen.
So then we have the ordinance for parking on Main, which now that's to the 4 stalls. I would move that we approve the first reading of the ordinance to amend parking on Main.
So your motion is to approve,
Oh, I apologize, yeah.
say it again.
I move to approve the first reading of the ordinance to amend parking on Main Street, take the 4 parking stalls.
Okay,
second?
there's a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Now, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Cots,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes,
Haley.
Yes.
Motion is approved.
And we'll bring that back to the next meeting.
For the second and third.
Yep.
And then
We need to,
I looked at this pretty hard, Mr. Mayor. We need, the last one is to approve,
right,
to amend the city complex beautification.
beautification project is what needs to be done. Yep.
So I would also move to approve the resolution approving a record of resolutions related to the city complex beautification agreement between Carroll County and the city of Carroll.
Yep, and that's this agreement.
Right, 1970, whatever draft.
Correct.
No second.
So a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? We'll go ahead and vote.
Haley,
Yes.
Fleshner,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Cots.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Why do we have to buy what we already
And then we'll bring the other ordinance back again next meeting. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, guys.
The next item on the agenda is under resolutions, and it's the water storage tower rehabilitation 2019. Professional services agreement number 1, amendment number 1, and Randy, please.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The current professional services agreement with JEO for the water tower project included just design work to get that project to bidding. Following the award of the bid, we prepared an amendment number 1 to incorporate the construction-related services into that contract. And the amendment number 1 is included in your packet, but it's, in summary, it includes project management for the duration of the contract, construction administration for 150 days, which is the contract term, RPR, or resident project inspection, for 120 days, and then what's called NACE coating inspection for 10 weeks. Now, NACE coating inspection is over 70% of the cost, total cost being $89,500. The NACE inspection is over 70% of the total cost, and that work is proposed to be done by a subcontractor to JEO Consulting Group, by a company called S&S Coating Services. And we're recommending that that work be done, be contracted for in this project. It's expensive, but we believe it's worthwhile. The amendment number 1 brings the total engineering services agreement to $118,900. This also brings the total project cost estimate to $662,600, which exceeds the current budget of $625,000. So that would mean, as rebudgeting is performed, the money would have to be budgeted back into this current fiscal year for completion of the project. So unless there are any questions, I'd recommend your consideration of the passage of the resolution approving amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement.
Randy, did we have that NACE coating inspection last time we did the tower?
We did, yes. Mhm.
And can you give us a 10-second spiel on why you feel it's worth it?
Sure. NACE coating, the inspection involves reviewing the surface preparation, which is specified to a certain level, and the paint application, which is also specified. Every coat has its mill rate specified. And if you have your own independent inspector checking both the surface preparation as it's performed, and then each layer of coating to assure that you're getting the paint on the tower that you're paying for, then we believe you'll get a better final product. And we did that, the reason I'm recommending this, we did that during glass painting, and that tower has lasted 20 years with no touch-up paint.
And it was supposed to be a 15-year.
And back then, it was 15 to 20 is what those paint systems were recommended to last.
So we got 25% more lifespan, and we can chalk it up to NACE.
Well, I think that's that, and the contractor at the time did an excellent job of putting the mills on that was supposed to be put on. So that's, we don't know contractor to contractor, but this is for your comfort level in saying we got what we paid for on that tower. And what we paid for is a top-notch coding system.
My understanding is still pretty good, and I think if we didn't have to put that stir in there, I think you'd try another 20 years out.
Well, maybe not 20, but you'd get more life out of it. It's got a couple of.
Randy, you're just supposed to say, yeah, that's right.
Well, in honesty, it's
Yeah, no.
a couple of holidays on the inside, not
Yeah.
anything significant, basically nothing on the outside. It's got some mildew on the bottom, which all tanks get, and, but as far as paint failures, it just hasn't occurred.
And this is an inside and outside paint, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Like, I was surprised at the cost too until I went into JEO's document, and they submit daily and weekly inspections, so I can see why it's.
Part of my thought was,
Yeah.
we're hiring a contractor that does this for a living.
Yeah.
You know, so we're paying somebody's annual salary, in some cases twice over for 10 weeks to stand and watch them apply paint. So I kinda wanted to hear the
Yeah.
justification of
Oh,
why
no, that
is.
was good,
So-
that was good.
You've never heard of the paint applicator supervisor?
Oh. I've watched paint dry before, but that's about as close as it gets.
That's good.
Are there any other questions for Randy?
Randy, when will this start?
We're anticipating by the 1st of September to be a late start date. We are working, the antennas, the communication antennas that are on the tower are required to be removed. And we're working with both companies and getting mixed results on that effort. But in order to finish the project this year before weather turns bad, September 1st is pretty much a late start date.
Who absorbs the cost of removing the antennas?
The cell companies. Hence the very
At least one we know will be setting up temporary repeaters, I would imagine both will.
Put that on top of your house, Mike.
But it'll be at the next to the
Any other questions for Randy? If not, I need a motion to approve the resolution for amendment number 1 to the professional services agreement with JEO Consulting Group Incorporated for the water storage tower rehabilitation 2019 project.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote, please.
Fleischner?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cots?
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you. Our next resolution is a resolution setting the dates of a consultation and public hearing on a proposed 6th amended and restated urban renewal plan for the Central Business District project area in the city of Carroll, state of Iowa. And Mike, please.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. With the upcoming purchase of the former City Hotel property at 224 North Main Street, staff has been working to identify some funding sources, both for the acquisition and demolition of that property. One of the ways to fund that would be through tax increment financing, and it would require an amendment to our current urban renewal district. The first step in this process is to amend the plan on which this resolution starts. Including your packet was both a map and the amended urban renewal plan. The main changes of the urban renewal plan include identifying projects that will be completed using tax increment financing. And we did both add acquisition and demolition of dangerous properties. We also took the opportunity to review our current capital improvement plan within the downtown and added a number of projects that were not currently in the urban renewal plan. We always take this opportunity when we do amendments to add additional potential projects to the urban renewal plan. The city's worked with Nathan Overberg with Allers and Cooney to make necessary changes. Attached this is a resolution that kicks off this process. Upon council approval of the resolution, the city will hold a consultation meeting with affected tax entities, which is scheduled for August 19th at 2 p.m. And a public hearing and adoption of the proposed urban renewal plan will be held at September 9th at the city council meeting. After amending the urban renewal plan, we will additionally bring a TIF ordinance back to the council for the newly created urban renewal area, and that is what will allow the collection of TIF dollars for this project. So recommendation by staff tonight is for council consideration approval of the attached resolution setting dates of a consultation and public hearing on the proposed sixth amended and restated urban renewal plan for the amended and restated central business district urban renewal area. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council has this evening.
So businesses that are down there that are currently, could they use some of this, use this for rehab or anything like that?
This is not set up for
Not set up,
rehab. but,
okay.
For example, our streetscape projects are all funded through the urban renewal. Additionally, with this plan, we've added some additional areas of streetscape, some potential areas to do resurfacing, added potential upgrades to all the traffic signals along Highway 30. In the past, we've also done projects like the Grant 30 improvement project last year that in part was funded through tax rental financing.
We're just really telling you to go ahead and ask the two other entities at this point, right?
This would be holding that consultation meeting and also setting a public hearing for September.
Any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to approve setting the dates of the consultation and a public hearing on a proposed sixth amendment and restated urban renewal plan for the amended and restated central business district urban renewal area. Do you need the dates in there? For August 9th, or for September?
No, we just need to.
Just the, okay.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
Haley,
Yes.
Seaman,
Yes.
Dirks,
Yes.
Cots,
Yes.
Fleshner.
Yes.
Motion's approved.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is going to be reports. And the first one is the Carroll Public Library shelving end panels. And
Since we haven't completed final design and really it's a customized product that we work with the selected vendor in the end to finalize prices and get the firm quote, we really got some estimates based on the designs that OPN has provided them. So including the cost of the panels, freight, and installation, Iowa Princeton Industries provided a quote of $19,635. Library Furniture International provided a price of $86,250. Obviously, as I stated, once a vendor is selected, OPN will review final details and then work to coordinate the panels and the shelving installation, and then final pricing will be obtained. So based on the price, OPN has recommended that we proceed with Iowa Prison Industries. During design development with IPI, we will see changes occur in the designs. OPN has suggested approval by the council for end panels up to $23,000. Included in the packet were some sample of the end panels that we're looking to use. Overall, for the furniture budget, we are sitting fairly healthy. Shelving, we have went out to bid and have moved on that. That price is $135,913. End panels, if approved tonight, would be $23,000. And then furniture overall, OPN right now is estimating $217,275. And I would know, remembering with the City Hall, we actually came under OPN's estimate. So we're pretty happy right now where we're sitting. So based on everything, right now we're estimating will be about $376,188. The budget for the library project did include a furniture shelving budget of between $388,928 and $435,072. So based on the current project where we're at, on the low end, we are $12,740 under budget. So the recommendation at this point is Mayor and City Council consider waiving the purchasing policy 501 related to the requirements for competitive quotes and approve the purchase of the library and panels from Iowa Prison Industries in the amount not to exceed $23,000. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions the council has.
these attach onto our current shelving units, correct?
This would attach onto both the new shelving that we're purchasing and the shelving that we're planning to reuse. So yes, it would attach to both systems.
Rachel, we're looking at 3 different designs here.
Yes.
Which one are you going with?
Well, we talked about, different areas having different displays. As you can see, like, in the one picture, they have, they
3 different
stagger them.
designs,
Yeah. We went and kind of staggered where we thought it would be best to display those things. And obviously, like, the 2 notched ones, we don't have as many of those, because those are more pricey and things like that too. But, we thought with different areas, kind of stagger them.
So you're gonna mix them up like this is mixed up?
Correct, yep.
And one of the things I think, I have not been fully involved in all the shelving discussions, but I find of interest, just displaying the books differently. And really going to kind of a retail type setting where you're showing the front cover, not just the spines out everywhere. And that's kind of what the shelving in campaigns also tries to achieve, is really display the books so people have interest in them.
Are there gonna be, like for the kids section, you're gonna have something similar like this or no?
Yep,
This will be
it'll be,
similar.
yep, it'll be all throughout.
Okay,
The same.
all that I'd seen here was just the adult one, so
Yep, they'll just be slightly
they'll
shorter.
just be.
Yep.
Rachel, on the one that shows the 3 segments, are those horizontal, shelves, are they can you adjust those? Are they adjustable?
Are you talking about this
The,
picture?
well, yeah.
Third one.
The third one,
Like right
in.
here.
Are
Oh,
those
no.
adjustable? Oh, but they're
Yeah.
set so you can do different sizes, it looks like, obviously.
Yeah, so from my understanding is it'll be like notched into the wood.
Yeah,
So
okay.
whatever it's cut, it's cut. That won't be adjustable, but,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
When you see those, it makes the plain end with nothing seem not as interesting. Yeah.
right,
Yeah.
well, and we kept it a very simple design that was more cost effective
Yeah.
as well. And we thought it would go over well with the rest of the
It
interior.
looks nice.
Mhm.
A lot less monotonous than just looking at a flat wall. I mean, you can see the books and, you can change a book there a week and people can see, hey, maybe that's the one to read this week.
And then we'll also have face out display shelving, as you can see kind of in one of the pictures, as well, that scattered throughout the shelves as well, so.
I was down there Saturday, it was the end of their summer reading thing. And I asked Rachel for next meeting to give us some numbers on how many pages were read this summer. It's gonna be a lot.
It will be a lot.
Okay. Any other discussion or any other questions for Mike? If not, I need a motion to waive purchase policy number 0501 related to the requirement for competitive quotes and approve the purchase of library end panels from Iowa Prison Industries in the amount not to exceed $23,000.
So moved. Second.
There's a motion and a second. If there's no other discussion, we'll go ahead and vote.
Dirk,
Yes.
Bailey?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Seaman?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Thank you. The next report is Carroll Trails Improvement 2019, change order number 1, and Jack, please.
Thank you, Mayor. Before you tonight are 3 alternates, 3 changes to the original plans. The first one, I have attached a map. When we went out to bid, it was also selected to do alternate 1, which was the 6-foot sidewalk from the very north part of the trail that will be installed down to the existing sidewalk, so people, if they park there, they wanna get up the trail there, if they wanna come down and use the restrooms at the youth sports complex, they can do that. The yellow part, and that part of the trail will be 6 inches deep, like throughout the rest of the trail. The sidewalk is 4 inches, it's really cracked, it was really broken up from driving over it, with equipment, getting the pickups out there. So we were planning on replacing that, anyway, and it just made sense if they were gonna be there. They're gonna re-pour it at 6 inches, so it shouldn't crack and be a problem like it is now. And it'll be one continuous pour. It'll look like it was built to be poured together. So That is the first change.
That's the yellow section on the map, right?
Yes, the yellow part that I drew. So that change order is $6,317 for that. The second one is clearing and grubbing the golf course trees. There's been some discussion, some talk about the trail being close to number 12 green. This was to even push it further away. It was gonna be closer. This is pushing it a little bit further away. And when we did that, it took out some, plenty of those trees. We had 23 trees that were taken out. Some of those were dead to begin with, so it was good to include them to get rid of those 23 trees. So that is really the second change order, was to adjust the trail a little bit further south and to take out those additional trees. Any questions with that?
They already cut it, so where it would be, and then following how we would change that.
It was originally designed,
Right.
and we basically went out to bid, and then when the contractor was awarded, we, met with the contractor, and it was decided we could push the trail just a little bit further to the south during construction, but that's gonna require removal of more of those trees.
Okay, so where it's at now is.
Where it's gonna be, yes, yes. It was gonna
I thought you
be
meant
closer to the
redoing that
green
section,
before,
yeah.
yeah. And then the third one, east side of the soccer fields, when they were originally doing the groundwork, the dirt work, the east side of the soccer fields has components to turn on and off the water, the valves. And we were so close, the trail was so close to that, they actually hit a couple during some of that dirt work. And the school really, at this point, came to us and said, we'd really like to see if you guys could push it any further east. And we're able to do 8 feet east without getting into that little drainage area that's to the east between the trail and the school. It wasn't gonna affect that drainage. So we were able to push that way, and it also make sure those 2 east soccer, football fields, whatever the sport they're playing out there at that time, will still have the same width. So we're able to keep the same size fields and to keep them away from the valves, turn on, off valves. So with that, it required some new earthwork and some engineering. So that was $14,040.28. Original contract price was $738,016.66. And I know Mike mentioned this right before the meeting. In my recommendation, it says $35,566.08. That is incorrect. It is $34,556.08. If you look at the last page of the contract, $34,566.08. So that is the amount for those 3 change orders, and that will bring the total to $772,572.74. Since this change order, there will be one slight change order brought to you. It's at all 3 of the school entrances. The curb was cut out enough, 15 feet, to put the trail in. But after looking at it, for the street removal, or for the snow removal and some of the other work, we're looking at cutting it, or we're gonna take out the rest of the curb that curves on both sides of the entrances on all 3 of them. So that will be another change order. It just wasn't prepared for you at this time. So at the end of the project, I'm not anticipating any other change orders other than that small one. And I think we're talking $4,500 for that change order. And it'll look better, and it'll help with snow removal and things that the school needs to do. And they really had asked for that to be considered, so.
Those water shut-off boxes, who owns those?
The school?
School.
We use them in the spring when we maintain it from March to July. The contractor paid to fix them. They hit them, so they should have. So that'll be that'll be done. Wednesday will be a major pour on the golf course. They will pour that whole section on the golf course in one day. There'll be a major pour. They've done the west side of the ball fields and the northeast side of the soccer fields. They've done those pours. And they're hoping, this rain this morning, they were gonna do it this morning, but no, they gotta wait till Wednesday. So they'll probably go into next week, but as soon as they're done, they gotta the trail sits 72 hours, and then they're backfilling with the machines and reseeding. We're hitting the perfect time for good weather to seed and get that done.
Yeah, just kind of hoping they got that, at least there by the school done before school starts.
Yep, all 3 entrances are done there. Got one little piece, very north, I mean, a real small section by the road to do.
Just for so much of the traffic there.
Have you considered making like anything back behind that 12 feet out of bounds, just to discourage people from getting back there?
We talked about some kind of barrier to block the trail. But as far as calling out of bounds on the other side, we'll discuss that.
It's just a thought, I mean,
Yeah.
that's one less person.
Then it's one less person having to hit back over the.
Well, somebody's gonna hit a little softer if they think it's out of bounds.
Yeah.
You know, so,
Oh,
there's a lot of people
yeah, that's
talking
true.
about that, so,
Okay,
you know, we shouldn't be hitting back there anyway.
yeah. What?
Not on purpose.
No.
So,
Yeah, that's been, I know Mike's had calls, I've had calls, how close it is to the green. What I was told from the engineer, it's 51 feet from the closest edge of the green to the edge of the trail. A lot of times that is a second shot, you're pitching into the green. Yeah, and people, the walkers using the trail will be watching, and you know, I told people I was more concerned when we put in the frisbee golf down at Rolling Hills. I thought those discs would be flying towards the trail, and I haven't heard any problems with it.
I saw people walking on the other side of the street looking for their golf ball.
Yeah.
Already, yeah, I hadn't seen that for a while, but they're
Did you find it?
in Veterans Park. I didn't, it wasn't me.
Veterans Park.
All right.
We're in the wrong sport.
It was not me.
What funds is the extra money coming out of?
We have money in the budget. We have slightly over $1 million that
Yeah,
can.
because this came in under budget.
Yeah. So there's funds to cover.
Find a title is 3, it's mine.
Okay.
Are you gonna replace any of the trees that they took out, or not?
Probably not. It was just that area.
Seems like every other year I see something.
They're damaged.
Yeah, or get a good storm and it just rips them all to shreds down there.
Yeah.
That part.
If we continue to lose more, there might be some reason for landscaping purposes of the trail and plant some trees. Had calls already, people wanting to put benches out on the trail. You know, we'll look at situations like
They
that.
wanna donate some benches, yeah.
Yep.
Were those trees that came out, ash trees?
They varied, but yes, there was some.
We have talked about, once this project's done, we'll look at Port 12, about doing some landscape barriers to kind of help some of the situation.
I think they do that, they've done that out at the country club, some of the golf cart paths have lilac bushes up against them too. And they use that to separate some of the greens from some of the next, for the tee blocks, yeah.
Should probably name that backstop after me, Mr. Mayor. I'm the wild golfer, we get back there.
Any other questions for Jack? If not, I'll look for a motion to approve the change order number 1 for $34,556.08, bringing the total cost of the project to $772,572.74.
So
Second.
There's a motion and a second. There is no other discussion. We'll go ahead and vote.
Seaman?
Yes.
Cox?
Yes.
Haley?
Yes.
Dirks?
Yes.
Fleshner?
Yes.
Motion is approved.
Thank you.
Thank you. I trust everyone's read the committee reports. I'm going to forego any comments due to time, and we've got a closed session. Are there any comments from the city council? Comments from the city manager? If not, I will look for a motion to go into closed session for Iowa Code 21.51C, strategy with legal counsel.
Mr. Attorney, are we?
Yes, indeed.